Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Can everyone hear me okay? Just want to make sure everyone can hear me fine. Good morning, good morning. Let me get my chat here. How's everyone doing? Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope everyone is well. Just let me know if you guys can hear me fine. Just want to make sure the stream is actually working fine. Hope you guys did actually enjoy. All right, perfect. Hope you guys did enjoy your weekend. I did mine. I hope you guys watched there was a good fight on this weekend. Eubank versus Conor Ben. I don't know if anyone caught that. It was a good fight. I was a bit upset. I did lose some money. Eubank let me down, unfortunately, but GG's. That's why you shouldn't gamble, guys. Right, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Okay, as always, I'm gonna put the music down a little so you can hear me fine. Right, I'm gonna start with the dollar index. Okay, now these are all drawings from the last live that I did on Thursday. If you didn't check that out, I do recommend it. So basically, I was waiting for price to reject off the $99 level. Now it did. As I wanted to see. Now basically what I'm looking for is price to hold above the daily and weekly open. So the main draw I want to see is a clear 4-hour candle closure above 99.5. If we see that, if we see a candle closure like that above that level here, okay, that will be clear indication that we'll likely come and flip $100 and see that rotation back into these highs here. Okay, that's basically what I'm looking for. Okay, come and see a retest of the monthly, and then 4-hour candle closure above this high here at 99.58. That will basically be a clear indication for me that we're likely going to come and flip this key level and come for that weekly draw here on the high. Okay, so again, I'm anticipating a bullish dollar for this week. As I illustrated last week, this was the main level. Now we do need to hold this level. We could come back one more time, manipulate the lows on Tuesday, Wednesday, because on Wednesday and Thursday is when you usually see midweek reversals. So that is something I would like to see as well. But again, if we just come above this high and see something like this occur, then we likely won't see the lows get swiped. Okay, if that makes sense. Right, let me push over to economic calendar quickly. Now we do have some economic, well, we have a lot of economic data this week, but the main ones that my eyes are on is basically the US data, which is on Wednesday and Thursday. We have CPI on Wednesday and FOMC, and then on Thursday we have non-farm payrolls. Now this is something I did actually want to double check, because last week we did have the CPI, which was not released, so I think they're going to do it this week. I just wanted to double check, so I just pulled up this quick article. Basically, just saying as the government reopens, investors will be looking out for announcements on which economic data due to be released and when. The market relief at the shutdown ending provided a brief investor turn cautious amid uncertainty about when data, especially job figures, will be released and how reliable it will be. This leaves investors uncertain about whether or not the Fed will cut interest rates in December, which is what basically the billion-dollar question here. But I do think we should see that data come out this week. Okay, now let me push on to EU. Now, again, given that we first built our bias on the DXY, which is, I think, the most important. Once you have a base understanding of what your bias is, you can have a better understanding of risk assets, equities, commodities, etc. So let's push over into EU. Now EU, again, drawings from last week, very it's pretty much the same. Now we're seeing it actually play out. Now 1.1634 was the main level I was waiting for to see a rejection, right, before we see that main push, because I did highlight, right, we have 1, 2, and then I want to see a third drive. We did actually see that first pinpoint here and a rejection, right, but it didn't give me a trigger for short, so I was just being patient. Now we did see that surge up, in price here. Okay, basically. So got that rejection I was looking for with this high holding. Okay, which is a clear indication for a nice bearish push down again with this internal high being manipulated. Let me just put this higher so this is easier to see. Get rid of all this. Okay, now in terms of what I'm wanting to see here, now we've broken external structure here too, so this is a breaker structure. Now basically what I'm wanting to see here is a bit of a Monday range to occur. Okay, morning. Now what I'm wanting to see here is a bit of a Monday range, okay, to occur here, because Monday, I don't really like to trade EU on Mondays, very rarely, but I ideally want to see a Monday range occur. Okay, I don't know why it's bugging out. And then I see a push above this high will allow me to get into shorts, right, with a reclaimed deviation back into that Monday range, and then short basically back down into that monthly level here at 1.15. Okay, that's basically what I'm looking for. Again, if we see price just basically stall off and then we push in to 1.1635 again, then I'll just look for a clear swing short here, right? Invalidation is this high here, right? If we are bearish, we should not break above 1.165 again. Okay, if we are bearish here, again, first target will be 1.15. Right, we'll likely see some turbulence, some bullish reaction from this level. If not, if this level obviously fails to hold, then we'll likely see a rotation back into the lows of 1.146, if that makes sense, guys. Okay, right, let me just get rid of that. Okay, so right, first scenario, we see a retest. This is where I look to get short. Second scenario is wait for Monday range, then a manipulation of the highs to then get into short like this. Let me push this to the side. I look to get short like this, and then my invalidation would be basically wherever the deviated high is. Ideally, we should stay below the weekly level. We could see again a retest, a deviation, but as long as we come back below into this range, or into the previous Monday range, then I'm still very much confident in shorts, right, to at least come back into the monthly level. All right, if that makes sense. Right, does that make sense in terms of what my plan is before I move on? Is my screen not lagging and you guys can see it fine? Just let me know. Alright, before I move over to gold now. Right, okay, let's just push over to gold now then. Right, let me go on high time frame. Let's do the 4 hour. Right, gold was another one that actually, my analysis actually played out. I was looking for a rotation up higher into my refined zone, which was 4,300. We didn't get that, but this zone was valid, as I explained in the previous live stream. Again, I'll explain it quickly if you didn't. This zone was the main zone I was expecting a bearish reaction from, which we saw of about, I think, 2,000 pips, I believe. Right, was mainly because this was the last, this was that zone, the last zone that took out this high before we saw that bearish reaction from, that strong bearish reaction from that took out all that this internal liquidity. So this was a level where a lot of sell orders are basically sitting at, hence why I was expecting a bearish reaction from. Ideally, I did want it to come a little higher, but it shows that there are a decent amount of sell orders here, hence why we just tapped into it and rejected off it quite nicely. I'm in gold shorts from 42.12. Oh, that's a good short. Yeah, you caught a 42.12 about here. You actually caught a very nice short. I'm actually going to go over a shorting opportunity as well, actually, but you did quite well, latest trends on that short. Are you still holding or not? Because in terms of what I'm seeing now is this zone is basically a rally-based rally where consolidation took place before we had that rally, and then now basically previous demand has now become resistance. So in terms of what I'm seeing now is this is all imbalance here, right? And ideally I want to see a surge, a quick surge into this level of 41.30. Again, given this level holds, we'll be able to get into shorts, ideally into a retest of that monthly level, because higher time frame wise I'm still bullish. Now if you're thinking why, this was the zone that took out that internal liquidity before we came to push up. Now this zone hasn't broken structure, so you do have to keep that in mind, but internally it has broke structure. So this is still a good demand level, okay? And in confluent with the monthly level, I'm expecting to see at least a rotation back into 4200. Okay, still holding. Yeah, I prefer that too. But basically the only place I'm looking to get swing long is again that monthly level. This is the main zone I'd ideally want to see a demand, right? This is the main zone I'd ideally want to see a good low time frame accumulation take place, right? Ideally if this level holds, then I'd look to get long around the monthly level. Again, my main swing invalidation would be this low, and then I'd look to target all-time highs. Okay, again, it depends on how my entry would be a bit more specific on how the monthly level holds, etc. But you guys kind of get the point of what I'm basically looking for, right? Ideally want to see push into 41.30. Given that this imbalance holds, right, this level holds, then we should see a rotation back to that monthly open. Given the monthly holds, then I believe we should see a rotation back into all-time highs, because on a high time frame we are still very, very much bullish. All right, so don't lose sight of the high time frame, and I don't want to trade against the trend here either. Okay, even aligned with the 200 EMAs. Okay, if we do see a flash push down come into CPI or something, this is something I would very much like to take in terms of swing wise. Okay, again, I don't want to trade against the trend here, if that makes sense, guys. Yep. Okay, is that clear? Is there any questions you guys have? Oh yeah, let me quickly go over the setup. I don't know if this is the same setup you took, trends, but let me just quickly go over this one. Now after you would have saw that rejection from this key level I'd highlighted, right, what you would notice that you would have had basically a sweep of these highs here, right, in the previous day, right? You would have had a sweep of the highs, and then price basically pushes down, gives a nice bearish reaction, right? Now I would have missed these shorts, but where I would have looked to entered was here, right? After, where is my, hold on, wait 1 second, guys. I think I was on the wrong chart. No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Okay, so basically where I would have liked to see was after this SFP of this high here, I would have, this is 330, so I would have been on the desk, but let me go back a little. Yeah. So let's go back into my monthly levels. Okay. Hold on, guys, this thing's bugging out today. Don't know why. But basically, after this, the S&P of this high and then that rejection, I would have seen basically these were poor lows here that I would have looked to target, right? Again, internally, you did have structure break as well. So that'd be a BOS. But again, it's internal structure, so it's just showing weakness. If I push down to the 5 minute, right, I would have waited to see if this POI held, right? If this POI actually held, we'll go down in a 2 minute if that's easier. Mine was a 5 minute breaker, it got front ran and a market entered. Okay. Yeah, I would have basically just waited from this level, right? Given that the high was swept here, right? Can you have a break? Now the way I would have entered is if you let me, right, I would have entered after this retest here, right, of the daily. Now, given that if I even missed this, give this a BOS, I would have basically waited or put a limit at the daily open. My invalidation would be the high. Okay, now why here in particular? Another lower time frame entry confirmation of mine is you have 3 taps into this POI after a internal liquidity sweep, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, which is a clear indication to me that this is distribution, right? You also have a sweep of liquidity, and then after that bearish push, again giving that internal breaker structure, I would have waited or set a limit at the daily open, right? If we saw a retest, okay, again my invalidation is this high, because if price is bearish, it should not break above this high. Okay, something like this, and then my target would very clearly be these lows here. All right, this is intraday wise. Okay, this is after London Open at 9, which is around now, and then again, see, as you can see, would have got that retest into that daily open, and then I would have just waited. There you go. So pre New York, you would have seen that it actually came into that level, if this setup makes sense to you guys. But that's how I would have played this level very, very clearly, right? And the SFP, bearish push down, internal breaker structure showing weakness, and then this was the last buy before the sell that led to that breaker structure. So this was the main zone I would have had referenced, and then obviously the lower time frame confirmation I have in there, and my final confirmation would have obviously been the break and retest of that daily open, right? Because daily opens are quite important as a weekly and monthly. If you guys don't use that, I do recommend you guys actually do utilize that in your systems. If that makes sense, I'm gonna move on. Let me get some water. All right, okay. Now let me get rid of this replay, leave. Yep. Right, okay. Now let's push over to crypto. Now crypto actually did take a L over on Friday. Actually, I did take a L on BTC. Let me go on high time frame. What am I doing? Can you please cover GBP USD? Yeah, I'll do that in a moment. Yeah. Mark yearly open. Yeah, good, because that's something I definitely recommend people to use. They're very useful. If you utilize them within an already proven system, they can be very, very helpful in terms of marking out levels. Right now, I did take a L here on BTC. In hindsight, it was very clear that levels were quite bearish. We had order flow here. I think I was long because I was ideally wanted to see 110, right, before we saw lower, right? As I illustrated in the last live stream, I wanted to see 109, 110, value very high, before my main objective of 93k was actually hit. Let me get rid of all these levels, but it didn't. What ended up happening is obviously got taken out. I actually closed myself a little early after this low here was taken. See this level at 1017, I closed after that low was taken, mainly because, if I illustrate like this, it's a little easier to understand. I closed here for 0.5R. Again, it happened as part of the game, but basically we had a rejection off the POC and a retest of that 200 EMA, along with a clear manipulation. On BTC and crypto in general, when you have so let's say, for example, PA like this, right? Price is very stagnant, and then all of a sudden price pumps and then quickly rejects that level and breaks structure. You want to get out, because this is price creating liquidity. This is the manipulation, right? It's to grab all that liquidity, and this is the true intent of the move. This is where the expansion is going to take place, okay? So, right, which is down. So that's why I closed out early and saved myself from that 4R loss. But anyway, yeah, let me jump on actually what I'm seeing in terms of BTC currently, okay? Because I did actually catch a long last night on BTC. Let me go on the higher time frame. there's actually still a CME gap to be filled. Actually, yeah, let me go over that as well quickly. Thank you for pointing that out. Right, where's the CME gap? You're saying 93k CME gap, right? Where's the gap? 93k or 92k, you're saying? Okay, so let's look. Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, 92.5. Yeah, this is a clean level. This was actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to see the 90k level come and get filled, right? But I wanted to see 110 before we saw lower. But yeah, I am expecting it to bottom out around the 90k region, but I'm gonna cover that in a moment. But yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. But let me just quickly go over my actual previous analysis. Okay, so right, so basically range liquidity. I covered this last live stream as well, so please go check that out if you didn't. But basically what we're seeing is range liquidity being neutralized, all right? What we saw on basically Friday. So on Tuesday, the high got taken out previous Tuesday. Sorry, no, last Tuesday. The high got taken, and then the low got taken. So that is basically neutralization of both sides of the range, right? Then basically after you see both sides of the range get neutralized, after that is when you see the real move get taking place, which is basically the bearish push that we basically saw. Now, in terms, you're probably thinking why I have Fibonacci marked out. Now, usually when I see neutralized ranges like this occur, I like to map out the Fibonacci level of the range high and low, because in this scenario with the bearish move, it lets me figure out where price is likely looking to target, where I use the Fibonacci extensions. I like to use minus 28 and minus 61, and as you can see, both were quite literally tapped, which was another confluent why I was looking to actually get long here, which I'm going to go over momentarily. But as you can see, in terms of the range targets, the bearish target is hit, but we do have a CME gap around the 92, 91k. So this range is likely going to come and get rated down lower at some point, but that doesn't mean we can't see a bounce. Now, the two levels I am looking for a bounce from is 98k and 101k. Now, this is not a level you want to be ideally just randomly shorting, but I'm going to go over that momentarily. If I actually show you on the Discord, I did share this with the team around I think 3-4 p.m. yesterday. Right, here it is. If I just show you guys here, you guys can see my screen. Yeah, so again, I was waiting for price to come and hit that yearly level, right? And then basically, as I said, this was the main trigger I was looking for, right? We have this clear range high, range low. If you saw a push up into 97, I would have looked to go short. And if you saw that validation come back into that yearly open, I would have got long, and which I did here. All right, I just want to be a bit transparent because I did share my triggers and everything with the team, as I always do, right? Okay, if that makes sense. I'm looking for price to move up to 101k value area. I'm looking for something similar too. Again, if you remember where I cut my another confluent of 101, I do have trends. If you remember what I just said about where I took that L on, right? The reason where we saw that spike in volume, right, this was basically a buy before the sell, right? Because this zone where we saw a sudden after a range occurred, right, that slow momentum, right, where I actually end up cutting here. This is where we saw that big spike, which ended up taking out these equal highs before we saw that bearish momentum that broke all that external liquidity. So this gives me another clear indication that there's a lot of sell orders sitting at this level, right? After that, it left that imbalance, right? That created all that selling momentum. So it lets me know there's a lot of money sitting at these levels. So this is a very clean level that I do actually want to get short on, just because I know there's smart money orders sitting at these levels. So that's another reason why I'm confident of 101 as well. But ideally, Midterm wise, I am bullish, right? I'm still long. I did end up taking some profits around 8 at around I think 95.6. I partialed up mainly because what I'm now currently looking for, right? Because we're now still in a range. Let me get rid of this quickly because I don't want to confuse anyone. Okay, now this is the mid of that range. If I expand it a little better, right? We've basically tapped into that mid range, but we've also broken internal structure here. I'll mark out as BOS. Now again, we do still have intent for lower because we have that CME gap, which let me write here. We have CME gap here. CME gap around the 91, 92k, which is confident that we are likely going to come lower. But in terms of now, what I'm basically looking for, let me go on a 5 minute quick. Right, what I'm basically looking for is price to come into this level here, the 94.5, and then I'll look to, if this level holds, right, I'll look to get into longs, right, given that this level holds. Now this is more of an intraday play. Again, wait for lower time frame confirmations, right? However you trade your system, that's on, that's how you share. You haven't shared this in a group? No, I shared the analysis with the mentorship, where I covered the long in the Discord is what I refer to. In terms of today, where I'll be trading live on the Telegram, I will be sharing all my positions today, if that makes sense. Now, anyway, what I'm looking for on here is basically this is all liquidity as well. I want to see price come tap into that 94.5k level, right? And then this is where I look for lower time frame confirmations. Basically looking to get long here. My invalidation would be 92.5. Sorry, 92.917. Right, this was the zone where SFPs occurred at the yearly open. Again, we shouldn't lose the yearly open. If we do, then we come for that CME gap now. But I don't think that's what we're gonna see, because after such a large bearish push, right? I don't know, 1 hour. I got a daily OB marked on my chart, just the body that should hold. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, after such a bearish push like that, right? We need to see, right, of a 10% push, right? We need to see a bounce, and basically what we're seeing, right, which is what I like to see in accumulation zone, is curvature, right? So when price comes down like this, where it's sort of rounding off like that, right? When it has curvature like that, that means that's a good sign of accumulation taking place, because it's showing that buyers are slowly getting in or descending at, or smart money is at least, at lower and lower prices, and prices rejecting off the level, showing that there's good enough buying volume at these levels, showing that buyers are ready to step back in again, if that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm getting bullish at this level, in intraday wise at least, because if we do see that bounce here off 94.5, right, my targets will basically be 98k, and then my main target will be 101k. So it would offer a nice 1 to 4, 1 to 5 R, given that this level holds and the weekly level holds as well, because we have 3 levels confident, right? We have the yearly, daily, and the weekly. Again, depending on how Monday range plays out, I'd like to see this happen quick, right? Something like that, and then a continuation higher. Even seeing a break above 97, right, will be a clear indication that price is ready to actually start pushing higher. Again, I'd start getting bearish again at 101, but I'll cover that tomorrow, because I am going to try to go live every day during London. Okay, now if that makes sense, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try and move on. Okay. Now ETH, again from last live stream, this was the main thing I was waiting, position I was waiting for to actually get long. If price broke above previous value area low, right, then I would have gotten long into that monthly level. Obviously we didn't get that, so it was no trigger for me. This was all clean order flow, consecutive order flow. After demand failed and we had that internal breaker structure, it was quite clear that we are bearish. Last night I did highlight that I wanted to see this low come and get swiped. You'll go live every day for London. Yeah, I'm looking trends. I'm looking to go live on London or New York. Let me know actually, guys, what you prefer. If I go live every day on London, just for a little bit, I won't go too crazy. I'll do a little 30-minute, sometimes 45, something like that, just so you know, I could do just for a little while, you know, just to help some people out. But anyway, yeah, I was looking for this low to come and get swiped at 3K. Ideally, I wanted to see a Sunday pump, so then I could look for shorts from this yearly level. But we end up taking the low first, okay? But ETH is a bit stronger in terms of strength rather than BTC. BTC is BTC markout launch. New York. Yeah, that's pretty good. London, please go live. Go live with our card trade. I can't, bro. I've got other businesses as well, so London is good for me because I'm up pretty early out the day. I can do a little quick 30-minute as well, and then I can update my members as well in terms of what I'm positioning, marking, and then I can you know, get on with my day as well, because my day is pretty like it fluctuates day to day. So some days, what I'll probably end up doing is some days I'll go live London and then New York, depending on my days. But anyway, so we took out that low which I was looking to target. But again, I am more bullish on ETH than I am on BTC in terms of strength. So I do want to see a retest. If we see that pushback on BTC into that 94.5k level, right? Yeah, so I'd ideally want to see a retest of 31.28 to get long. Again, invalidation is this low at 3k. 3k is a psychological level too. So think about it. It literally spiked into that 3k level, literally pinpoint 3k level, right? This is why I actually reference quite a lot. Psychological levels are quite important because there's a lot of money sitting around round numbers in particular. Okay, so it is very, very important to have mapped out round psychological numbers, so like 3k, 4k, even on currencies and commodities in general. Round psychological numbers are quite important, and you'll see price react from them quite nicely. But in terms of now, we have a basically similar idea on BTC, right? This is the range low, range high, right? We have the deviation of the range low. Okay, so ideally want to see basically a retest into this level. Okay, a bit more refined zone into this level would be this zone here for me. This is a bit more refined level for me, which is what 3,105. But again, I like to react to price, okay, rather than just I don't as often use limit orders. I don't know about you guys. I prefer to market order a lot of the time because I like to see how price is delivering on the 1 minute. Even sometimes I go as low as the 30 seconds or the 15 second, just to see if price is in a particular POI. I like to see how price is delivering PA into that level before I decide how to get into a position. Okay, but ideally I want to see something like that occurring on the seconds time frame. Okay, before I actually look to get involved, if that makes sense. Right, but yeah, anyway, 31.30 is where I'll ideally be. Ideally look. Hold on, let me check the chats. BTC and ETH look like both accumulation manipulated. Yeah, exactly. Basically, that's exactly what they look like. And one thing you have to remember is they took out higher time frame lows as well. and they're retesting very crucial levels, right? So for ETH, we have the psychological 3K level. Let me actually write that down here. Let's write 3K level, right, which is important. And then ETH, we have the yearly level. So again, I'm going to, whichever setup gives, I'm going to take that, but I'd ideally want to long ETH, just because ETH has a bit more a lot more strength than BTC. BTC is a bit more weaker, but ideally that's the play, right? Wait for low time for confirmation within that level, and then look to long into that yearly level. So something like this, a validation is that level. If we lose the 3K level, then we're likely going to push back lower. I'll cover my higher time frame everything tomorrow, I think. But yeah, this is where I'll ideally look to target, right? Again, my entry will depend on how price delivers, so don't take my entry exact. But there is a New York launch high level on ETH at 33.25 that I'm expecting to clear. Right, let me see what that is. 33.25. Yeah, it's 33.25. Okay, so that's just below the yearly level. Yeah, so that's basically where I'm looking for price to come into, a bit roughly, basically. But I'm just using the yearly level as an example. And then this actually will be a very clear level for actually swing shorts as well, right? And validation would be this high here, 3,500, and then look to basically come back potentially into that $2,800 level. Okay, again, my entry will depend on how price comes into that level. Okay, now I'm gonna actually cut short unless you guys have any questions, because I do have to actually get going, guys. Did you guys enjoy this live stream today? If you did, please like, comment, share this, because I do actually want to have a goal in terms of just getting good premium content out. So your guys' support would actually just help me make sure I'm going live for you guys every day. Is there any prop firms you recommend for what? Prop firms for crypto or prop firms for Euro USD, or for both? Because I actually do. For crypto, I recommend Breakout. Breakout is really good. You can basically get paid. You get paid out within an hour. Normally, I've always got paid out same day, and you can pay, and you can. There's no payment cycle, so you don't have to fucking wait a week or 2 weeks. Whenever you're in profit, you just stop trading, request a payout, and it gets straight sent to your crypto wallet or wherever you want. FTMO is really good for. I recommend for building long term for for currencies and commodities, basically. So if you're trading basically FX or gold, etc., I definitely recommend FTMO. FTMO is the oldest prop firms. I first actually got funded with FTMO. They're really good. But yeah, those are the main two I recommend, FTMO and for crypto Breakout. They're really good. I trade a lot more crypto nowadays. So I use Breakout, but I just like that I can, if I'm in a profit, I can straight away just take withdraw basically my capital, and I don't have to wait for a payment cycle. Anyway, I'm gonna get the FTMO swing count. Yeah, they're pretty good as well. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy the stream. Right, please like, comment, do all that good shit. All right, helps me come back, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time tomorrow, London session, hopefully. And have a good day, guys.